We've been staying up basically all weekend watching tournament games, including the Gopher women's basketball team last night in Oregon. You know, there hasn't been a lot of sleep, and along those lines, our first guest today is Julie Manning. She's senior women's administrator and was on that flight back from Oregon last night as the Gopher season comes to a close. Julie, first of all, thanks for joining us on kind of short notice or short time, short sleep for sure.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure, and anytime I get an opportunity to talk about our women's basketball program, I'm going to certainly be there. So thanks for having me this morning.
Let's talk about the season, which obviously was terrific, and I want to talk about a few specifics during the year, but just the NCAA tournament trip in general. You find out last Monday night that you're going out to Oregon. You've got a lot of things to organize and do in short order. What was the experience like as you went out there last week and finished up yesterday?
Well, it was just phenomenal, and I think building up to it, as you mentioned, the selection show, maybe all of us were a little bit on edge. The NCAA had revealed that there were 4 slots open and there were 8 teams still available. So we were delighted when we saw our name flash up on the board. A lot of celebration there, and then as you mentioned, you kind of go into work mode. You get ready to get the team out there, charter, and get things going. But we had a marvelous experience. It was just incredible for certainly our student athletes, our coaching staff. We had a wonderful large group of the band. Spirit and Goldie was with us, and a number of donors were out there as well. So it was just a wonderful experience, and we'd do it again in a second, that's for sure.
As you look at the season as a whole, 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament, obviously the great game against Iowa, close game against Ohio State, a lot of big victories, including Michigan and Maryland here at Williams Arena. What do you think the key was to not a huge turnaround? I think everybody was pointing to this team, but with 8 newcomers a year ago to now the team they put together, what do you think the difference was year to year, why they were so successful?
Yeah, and I think Coach would probably tell us that with the very difficult schedule that we had last year, certainly our 8 newcomers were in the thick of it all year long last year, and they had their bumps and bruises as they went through the season, but it obviously paid dividends this year. And I think their ability to work together, to gel together, started gaining confidence as the wins started mounting up. And then, frankly, I think our speed just kicked in, and we really started to identify what our strengths were and really play to those strengths on our team. So it was really fun to watch this unfold, and couldn't be more proud of our team and our coaches and how it all came together.
What was Friday like against Green Bay? Obviously they're up double digits in the second half. They're out rebounding the Gophers, getting a lot of second chance opportunities. I'm sure you're sitting close. I'm sure you can hear everything. But then all of a sudden it's like a switch flipped, and the Gophers more or less ran away from Green Bay. What was that game like? What was the key to that, do you think, as you watched all of that?
Well, good point. I mean, we weren't quite in sync, it didn't seem like, in the first half. And some of that could just be first round NCAA play for most of our student athletes that were on that team. But we knew that eventually, and they have the confidence that they could get control and kick back in. And I know that Marlene gave a great halftime speech to them, and certainly they came out charged and very focused on Gopher basketball, really. And they just took off and played a great second half. And Green Bay was a tremendous opponent. I mean, they were really fun to play and pressed us hard. But in the end, I think really the talent and, again, the speed came out.
What's a typical day like for a senior women's administrator, or just an athletic director in general? I don't need to pigeonhole you there, but athletic director, is there such a thing as a typical day for you?
You know, there's probably not, and that's the beauty of this position. And I say this all the time. When I park my car outside and I walk in, I'm very blessed to have an opportunity to work on a college campus like the University of Minnesota, and then to be engaged with our athletics department and all the success and the delight that we have working with our very talented, successful, and future leaders with our student athletes is pretty remarkable.
You came here from Wyoming to join Mark Coyle. I'm curious, what made you make the jump or the leap? You've been there a little while, and I know you've been around college athletics for 20, 25 years. Why was this opportunity so appealing?
Well, I spent most of my career at Iowa State University. I went to school there and was a golf coach for almost 20 years. I always had my eye north. Because it was always something special going on at the University of Minnesota. And I went a couple different places to prepare me really for this opportunity. And without those places or those experiences at Colorado and Wyoming, I wouldn't be here. But it was always a place I had my eye on, and when Mark Coyle took the job, then it became even more appealing for me. So I've been here about a year and a half, and it's just been a wonderful run. I really, really enjoy what I do. And
we are here in the Land O'Lakes Center for Excellence lobby, where we've done this show a lot. You kind of got to jump in while this project was I don't know, maybe halfway, maybe the shovel been in the ground, but at least been, we knew it was coming. Yes. So what has the transition been like? I know the athletic directors didn't really get to move into it. You're still down in your same area, but what's the value here of what you've seen since this opened about a month ago?
I think it's transformational. I absolutely do. To have a facility like this where all of our student athletes, for probably the first time in many decades, can come together. It's just what we really needed. The other facilities that are here for our individual sport programs really put us back on par with the league that we're in, the Big Ten Conference, and the expectations are always there. We expect our coaches to compete with the very best in the Big Ten, and now we've provided the facilities to be able to do that. And the good news is I did get to move to the 6th floor, so I have one of the best offices in the department, and I'm very fortunate to be up there. But I wanted to be in and around the student athletes a lot, and in particular on the 6th floor where a lot of our life skills and leadership opportunities come about. So
now we've got a couple months left in the academic year and athletic year. Take us through what's coming up. I know we've got a gymnastics regional here in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about that next week on Ski-U-Mah Weekly, but obviously the students want to finish the year strong academically, but you also have a lot of sports, even kind of just starting up with softball and things like that.
You know, we really do. Our baseball and softball team will finally be coming back to campus here where they can play outside and get started. That's really a lot of fun. Our golf teams are about midway through along with our tennis teams. So we're doing really, really well. We're excited for what's to come this spring season, really.
I talked to Coach Carlson and Coach Redmond about this a lot. As a golf coach in a northern climate, which you have some experience with, is the greatest recruiting tool ever that you're not here at all from January to March, that basically every other week. I remember there was a Honolulu Open one time with Coach Carlson. Like, that's, did you use that back in your Ames days? That we're never in Ames when it's cold. Don't worry, we're always on the road.
Well, it's appealing. There's no question for student athletes to come in your program and be in Arizona, be in California, and be in Florida. So they have a unique opportunity with the weather that's here to really hone their game in the South, and we take advantage of that for certain.
I have to imagine you appreciate the new practice facility as a former golf coach that they've built over by Les Bolstead, that's going to be part of the deal. When we've talked to golfers before about that, they just rave about how much of a difference that's going to make.
It really does. When you have it on your campus and it's just minutes away from where our student athletes live, again, just that opportunity for those student athletes to come together in their home, it again will be transformational for our golf program. That will pay tremendous dividends and to the performance and, again, what we can expect from them in the future.
Let's take a quick question from Stefan, who's a frequent questioner here on Ski-U-Mah Weekly. Appreciate the loyalty, Stefan. For Julie Manning, wants to kind of know what the future's looking like for Gopher women's basketball. How you feel? Obviously, they've got some underclassmen. Destiny Pitts is going to have a great career. We know Kenesha Bell and all that. How do you feel like it's going moving forward?
Well, no question. We will miss the 3 seniors that will be departing our program. They have left just a tremendous legacy, something to be extremely proud of. We have signed 4 young women to come in and join our program, and we have open scholarships in addition to that. So I know our coaches will be right back out there recruiting. It really never ends. And just to see if there might be somebody out there that maybe might be interested in a transfer or returning to Minnesota or something like that. So I think the future is very, very bright, and we're building something here. You can feel it. It's very special. We picked up a lot of season ticket holders, a lot of fans got on board, and that's kind of where it starts. It really starts to develop some momentum, and very bright future, I think.
Last one for me. Tiger Woods had another top 5 finish this past weekend. I need your golf coach expertise. Favorite going into the Masters? Favorite going into Augusta? Just good to have him back, right?
Oh, it's so good for golf to have him back. But I really like how Rory's playing.
Playing great. That's the other story of the weekend. You're right.
It sure was. So it's going to be a great Masters to watch. You don't want to miss that weekend, that's for sure. So it'll be fun.
All right, I got the golf question in there. Well, Julie Manning, thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll catch up again on Ski-U-Mah Weekly.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.